so we knew kind of the algorithm they were buying. And so we would just target specific subdivisions.
Yeah.
And then we would know the value of those properties roughly, you know, before we would walk it. And just like with anything in wholesaling, you can make those big checks, but it's not just a, you know, pick up a couple calls and be done with it. The vast majority of people that get into it get out of it pretty quickly.
Maybe like a mentor that came by, or like, was it just like an idea that popped in your head?
I'll tell you what it was, is we had 2 deals which fell out from a lender.
Okay.
And I had, at this point in the wholesaling, we're probably 3-4 years in, and I had never thought about lending. You know, it wasn't my part in the chain. My part in the chain was to be a wholesaler.
A lot of people are promoting, you know, voice AI and then, you know, AI and blah, blah, blah. But I have a technology that has emotional detection. So it picks up the emotions that people are saying with the tonality in their voice.
And that's when things become easier, because now I'm just focused more on evaluating these leads rather than spending all day prospecting for potential leads. So once you hit that point, you know that your business is a little bit more solid.
Welcome to another episode of Pick Up the Phone podcast. I'm your host, Josue. I am the founder of GetYou.ai, the first emotional voice AI for real estate investors. It's not artificial intelligence, it's emotional intelligence. Today's guest is Joey Davis. Joey Davis with Spark Lending. He's wholesaled over 300 properties in his career. He's lent out over $50 million. And just recently, he's launched GetHardMoney.com. It's a free online tool with calculators and an easy way to connect with lenders. Joey, thank you for being here, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I like that emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Pretty cool.
You know, like a lot of people are promoting, you know, voice AI and then, you know, AI and blah, blah, blah. But I have a technology that has emotional detection. So it picks up the emotions that people are saying with the tonality in their voice. So, excuse me, typically whenever someone's down, you know, their tonality is going to be low. And, you know, and they'll pick up on those nuances in the tonality. It'll read it, and then it'll adjust itself to match the prospect's voice, which I think is pretty awesome, because most up until recently, every voice AI that I've heard sounds monotonic. It sounds like a robot. Yeah. So this is groundbreaking stuff, man. I'm excited about it.
That's awesome, man. I know I've seen a little bit of it in action, but looking forward to seeing more of it.
Absolutely, man.
So really, we live in an ever evolving world. If you kind of get stuck with the dinosaurs, you're in trouble, right?
You're in trouble, bro.
And real estate is one of those things you have to be ever evolving.
Yeah.
You know, when I started out in wholesaling, it was literally we would print out the names and numbers of real estate agents and just, you know, call them one by one. There was no technology to throw them in a text blast system or email. Yeah. And nowadays it's just a kid in their mom's basement who is great at technology. Right. And they're the ones beating everybody out. Yeah. So yeah, really, really cool what you're building.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, can't wait to bring it to the world. But man, let's talk about you, man. You know, you've accomplished a lot. You've built an amazing company, Spark Lending, GetHardMoney.com. So I'd love to hear your story on how you got here today, right? So where are you from? Where were you born? You know, what's your upbringing like?
Yeah, I've been kind of all over the world. I was born in Texas, but we moved around a lot as a youngster. My dad was a missionary. So he always decided to move us to the craziest places he could think of. So we lived in Russia, we lived in Colombia. When I was about 12, we settled in the UK. Yeah. I lived in the UK until 2017. So I lived there over 22 years in the UK. And then moved back in 2017 with the goal of getting into real estate. Previous to that, I was actually in recycling. Yeah. So I had no real knowledge of real estate. Yeah. So when I moved over to Houston, it was just kind of threw myself into the fire, and it was right as Hurricane Harvey hit. So Hurricane Harvey hit, and I didn't know anything about wholesaling. Yeah. And it was just kind of a baptism by fire with all these flooded houses.
Great timing to join real estate, I think, right?
Yeah, good. Kind of learned a lot. Had some, you know, great people who were my mentors. Yeah. Was working with a brokerage, and it went great, and kind of it was just a natural progression from wholesaling into flipping, and then eventually into lending.
For sure, man. For sure. You mentioned also that so your dad, what's the reason that he kind of moved you guys around all over the place?
He was just a gung-ho missionary. He had a Christian publication company, and he would go around to these countries and set it up. So we were always moving.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So your dad was a missionary.
Yep.
Very cool. I didn't know that about you, man.
Yeah.
So you come from a very religious household then.
Yeah. I mean, he's great parents. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's, overbearing religious. He
Yeah.
was just very passionate about what he did.
Yeah.
But I think being able to, go out and experience all these cultures and kind of the way that people work and act has helped me a lot.
Yeah.
So that I'm not narrow-minded. I don't have these concepts when working with different people from different nationalities and backgrounds. So I'm real thankful that I had that as experience as a kid.
That's interesting. Do you find yourself working a lot now with international clients, or?
No, not now. and well, I mean, I guess so. Houston is so eclectic, right? Houston is so multinational that yes, in a way, but we're doing everything locally based essentially.
Right. So why UK? Why did he decide to land in UK for a while?
Yeah, I think he just had a heart for it. Settled there, and I forget the exact year, but just stayed. They're still there.
Mm-hmm.
They still live in the UK.
Your parents still do?
Yep.
No kidding.
And my sister, and so
really?
we're still in the UK.
So originally from Texas, ended up in UK.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
From East Texas to South London.
I guess they love English football then, huh?
No, I do.
Yeah.
Not
your dad
so much. Yeah.
That's awesome. And you had we've talked about this in the past. You had a recycling company in the UK. So talk to me about that, man. How was that like?
I was in recycling for about a decade. We would do used textiles. So
what does that mean?
Used clothing.
Okay.
So you see those bins you go around, those little
Right.
bins and put clothing.
Right.
We had that business for a long time and actually sold it in 2015, 2016.
Uh-huh.
And then was just kind of sitting on my hands trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
My wife had never been to Texas. She's British.
Yeah.
So in 2017, we came to visit some family here
Mm-hmm.
on vacation and just decided to stay.
Really?
So I was like, well, if I'm ever going to learn how to invest in real estate, we got to be here and got to be doing it.
Right.
So, that's kind of the intro.
Excuse me. Man, that's awesome.
And I made sure to bring her in the summer.
In summer.
If she could survive a summer, then I know she'd be good to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The summers here are pretty overbearing in
Yeah,
Houston,
pretty brutal.
Texas. Yeah.
So,
Especially coming from UK, huh? I bet that was sort of an adjustment to make.
yeah, dreary, rainy weather. I mean, I knew what to expect because we were coming here ever since we were kids.
Yeah.
To visit all of our family. But
Yeah.
she had never experienced the heat.
Yeah.
So.
What was the experience like selling your textile company? What kind of processes did you have to go through to make your company look financially sound on paper, operationally sound, and then be able to actually exit on a company?
Yeah, well, the textile industry is a commodity,
Mhm.
so the prices fluctuate just like anything. Gold, silver. There's a price of textiles. It all gets exported. Most of it goes to Eastern Europe,
Mhm.
and via way of Africa via Eastern Europe, all depending on climates. So we had, built this business up, and it kind of had its ups and downs. And then the price of the commodity actually bottomed out.
Mhm.
It all had to do with China and the imports into Africa with China,
Yeah.
and then reducing the value of our goods because they could get this new product in for very cheap.
Right.
So at the time, it was almost I had to sell.
Yeah.
Right. So we sold it to a much larger company, and then I actually went and worked for that company contractually as part of the acquisition for a few years before I was able to fully exit.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was learned a lot.
Yeah.
So I always think that people in real estate, most of them come from pretty eclectic backgrounds.
Mhm.
They started in different industries, but every business you create or every job that you had, you're going to learn some kind of skills from that you can translate over when you're ready to kind of make that jump into becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right. So I find myself now, even in negotiation, the way that I look at contracts, which will go back to my days in the recycling, and realize, well, I really learned a lot from that and was able to implement it now
Mhm.
into what I do every day.
That's amazing. Yeah. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you learned through scaling a company, and then being able to exit from it?
Yeah, and I think it's still to this day, and I think this is industry wide. It
Mhm.
all has to do with the people that you bring into your business.
Mm.
Like you have to be overly cautious about the people that you let in, but you also can't really be scared to delegate stuff to those people. If you have a really successful business, I can't remember what book I read this in, but or someone just said it, that you have to look at your business as if you were to step away from your business, would it still operate? can you disappear for 3 months and come back and it's still in the same position, right?
Right.
And that's kind of your barometer to know that if you've hired the right people within your business. And that's the key. If you don't have good people in your business is going to fail.
Right.
So that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
That's my biggest lesson I've learned. So I've hired people where, you're constantly babysitting them. You can't delegate stuff to them effectively. So that's key.
To your point, what do you think is kind of like, what is the things that you look for then when you're hiring people now that you have this experience?
Yeah, sure. It's tough. It really is tough. When you're interviewing someone, it's very stereotypical that all the answers stay the same.
Yeah.
A lot of it's really just kind of looking at what they accomplished and how they were able to stick it out in their current positions and getting a real, reasoning behind why they're not doing that anymore. So yeah, I think a lot of it is just kind of going off past examples, of what they've done, and can they successfully implement themselves into your business.
Right. Do you ever worry about like people coming in, learning your business, and then maybe just taking what they learned from you and doing it on their own?
Yeah, we had that a lot, especially in wholesaling.
Yeah.
So we had a wholesaling business for 5 years, and one of the biggest problems is that your A players, the guys who get in there and go and crush it, eventually they're going to go off and they're going to set up their own thing. But you can't have the mindset that everybody who goes off and does it on their own, it's a negative thing. You're really benefiting off of them, their time they're with you. Now, if they're going and, especially in other industries, if they're taking your clients and, being a detriment to your business, it becomes a real problem.
Right.
But we would always encourage our agents in the wholesale business to get into investing. Start buying your own houses, start flipping. And that might take time away from our company,
right,
but we really want to invest in the success of all the people that work for us.
Yeah.
So it's not always a negative thing to think someone's going to come in and set up their own thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing you really want to, keep focus on is how can I benefit this person and what can I give them to make them stay within the company, right? So whether that's, access to those properties, whether it's some kind of more senior role, whether it's some more responsibility. If you're an A player on my team, I want to make it worth your time.
Right.
Right. So that's something I find that a lot of people miss. It's just, this is it. It's my way or the highway.
Right.
But you can implement some stuff to keep a lot of your key players.
Yeah, it's very interesting, man. Cool. Well, I think you definitely took a lot of that knowledge and that experience and translated it into what you do today, right? So let's get into now, you went to the UK, you got your business, Textile, scaled it, exited. What happened next? You came during Harvey. So what was that like, moving from the UK to Texas?
Yeah, it was kind of a on the whim decision to do it. We came here on vacation.
Yeah.
And
so you came on vacation?
We came for a summer and then realized that, and what's even crazier is at the time we had a 10-month-old. Yeah. So we were traveling around with a baby. So it was really just kind of a, sitting down with my wife and saying, I've always wanted to get in real estate. I know that the majority of millionaires that are made, I don't know the exact stat, but it's like 80% of all millionaires are made through real estate. Right. So I knew I wanted to get in real estate, but I didn't have a firm grasp on it. I didn't even know wholesaling existed. I didn't know, really how to run numbers on a rental property. Is it a good investment? So by being here, I knew that I would, I would benefit of that, and it would just kind of accelerate, my knowledge of it. So we came here on vacation. We went back to the UK just to sort out my wife's visa. And then I started my real estate exam and license because I wanted to get licensed before I came back over. Wow. So there was a short gap, maybe a couple months while we worked on all the visa stuff, and then came back over. And then, then Harvey happened.
Then Harvey happened. As soon as you landed over here, like
a couple weeks. Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that is nuts. So, babe, we're going to move to a new city. And by the way, the whole city just flooded.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know that. It was funny on the trip over here. I was telling her how, Houston's problem is hurricanes. Yeah. And sometimes they flood. And she said, "Oh, I'd really like to see a storm." And then we got here and I was like, "You sure?" And she's like, "Yeah, I don't ever want to see a storm again." Yeah. Yeah. Because we were out helping our neighbors, we were ripping out sheetrock. We were helping wash their clothes. Right. So it was definitely eye-opening. Yeah. But at the time, for the real estate side of things, and it's a terrible thing that happened and so many people flooded, but it threw me into the deep end, and we were literally going door to door, speaking with homeowners and giving them offers there on the spot.
On the spot?
Yeah.
No kidding.
So
did anyone take it there on the spot?
Yeah, plenty.
Really?
For sure. Uh-huh.
No kidding.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So we knew our numbers. We knew who the buyers were at that time. A lot of hedge funds moved into Houston.
Right.
So we knew kind of the algorithm that they were buying. And so we would just target specific subdivisions.
Yeah.
And then we would know the value of those properties roughly, before we would walk it. And then a lot of it was just educating the homeowner that if they sold, they're not going to lose out on their insurance checks, which were coming. That it didn't have to be applied directly to the rehab portion of it. So once we were able to overcome that obstacle, I can't even remember how many houses we contracted during Harvey.
Yeah.
So we were contracting them and then wholesaling them the same day.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So I mean, you came here and you had very little knowledge of real estate. How did you pick it up so quickly to be very certain of your numbers from the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, it was getting the license, which is nothing towards wholesale.
No, nothing. Yeah,
and it touches a little bit on investing.
Right.
But so I had my license, and then I actually went and found a brokerage, a large brokerage here in Houston that specializes in wholesale. Yeah. And joined them, and I joined them right probably the week that Harvey happened. So
you joined who?
The brokerage, the real estate brokerage, that wholesale brokerage.
Okay.
And I had a really good partner that we were going around with, Joe Bistrada. I don't know if you know Joe.
Yeah.
So me and Joe became like brothers. Every morning we would meet up. We'd go out in the car, and we had a whole folder full of Trek contracts. Yeah. We were just going door to door.
No kidding.
Yep.
So you joined a major brokerage here in town?
Yep.
Which one was it?
Net Worth.
Yep. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that come out of Net Worth and they
New Western.
Yeah, New Western and Net Worth, and they go out there and they crush it, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it sets them up for success later on in life for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So you went out with Job. You guys started pounding doors, knocking on doors. You guys get a bunch of deals. What happens after that?
It just opened my eyes to the potential of real estate. We're making 10, 15K fees on these houses or more
on each one.
Yeah. And I'd come from, the textile industry, no knowledge of real estate. Yeah. And just kind of being able to see the potential, seeing that with good systems and good processes, this thing could really take off.
Right.
So
did your wife become a believer at that point?
Yeah. I mean, she's always been supportive.
Yeah.
So whatever crazy idea I have, she's always, willing to go along for the ride. And we had actually, talked about, buying some real estate and holding them as rentals and keeping it as passive income. So, yeah. You always have these goals set out, and goals are so important, but your goals always change.
Right.
Right. As you go along, you realize, well, this might not be the best way to do it. My first goal was I just kind of reversed engineered how many houses I would need to be able to live the lifestyle that I want. And, I would say, well, if I can get 30 rentals, well, I'm set.
Yeah.
So let me build up enough money with the wholesale checks, invest it into rentals, and then I'm done.
Right.
But obviously you see the reality of things as you move on and your goals shift.
Yeah. I think, as you evolve and as you scale and as you grow in business, I think the goalpost or the target always keeps moving. Correct. Right. To adjust to your new knowledge, your new experiences that you have. And I think that's the natural progression of life, right?
Yep.
To consistently develop that goal.
And I'm a huge believer in goals. Even though they change, I think it's so important to be able to write down your goals and kind of be able to physically see them. So actually I do different sets of goals. I actually kind of break it all the way down to daily goals. Mm-hmm. So that might even just be what your to-do list is for that day. Mm-hmm. And my goal is to accomplish that. And then I'll have a year goal and then a long-term plan. Yeah. So even if they shift, that's okay. But if you're aiming high, then you look back and realize, well, I might not have hit that specific goal, but I sure accomplished a lot of what I was intending to do.
Right. Yeah.
And if you have no kind of visual representation of what you're trying to do, mm-hmm. and why you're working so hard, what's it all for?
Right.
You got to figure that out.
Yeah. Do you establish your goals based on something, maybe like a vision? There's a lot of people that set goals based on, oh, this is the vision of what I want my life to look like, right? And then kind of reverse engineer that. Or are your goals set more on just like certain metrics that you want to hit?
Yeah. I think they work hand in hand. I think the certain metrics that you want to hit are going to be a direct correlation of, how you want your life to play out. Right.
Yeah.
And what your goals are generally, how do I make my life easier?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So my whole kind of mentality behind the goals is all based around, the theory of having more time.
Right.
The more time that you have, the better quality of life you have.
Right.
But you got to put in that effort now, to be able to achieve that. So I think those two work hand in hand.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of people don't really realize how much time, energy, and effort is required at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, just an ungodly amount of effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just like with anything in wholesaling, you can make those big checks, but it's not just a, pick up a couple calls and be done with. The vast majority of people that get into it get out of it pretty quickly. Yeah. Right. Because you have to put in the time, you got to put in the grind, you got to handle a ton of rejection. Yeah. And if you're not geared to handle that rejection, well, now you've got, emotional intelligence and really the whole purpose of that is to cut out a lot of that rejection, right? Yeah. To streamline it, to be able to make more contacts, but to cut out that rejection side of things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you've really got to learn how to absorb that. Yeah. And if you don't have that character, that mentality, then you're not going to last.
Absolutely.
It's not going to work.
Absolutely. I think that, I want to ask you about your, you said you wholesaled over 300 wholesale deals, and I want to get into that, but let's go ahead and hear from our sponsors real quick.
Absolutely.
If you're a real estate investor in Texas, Natalie Basak with Black Label Title is the #1 title company for real estate investors. Here's why. Natalie can pull free instant property reports for existing clients that show liens, nearby foreclosures, any delinquent taxes. This is so that investors can do their due diligence before going under contract. I'm sure she could even help you out if you need to do some sort of due diligence. If you're going to go buy at the auction, Natalie Basak is the #1 person for you. They are backed by multiple underwriters. So they have, different people that can make sure that your deal gets closed. And I think what's really cool about them is that they do pass through A to B closings. This means that you don't need transactional funding. This alone saves you several $1,000s on every closing that you do. That is a double closing. So that means that you can use the B2C transaction to be able to fund the A to B. No transactional funding needed. They're familiar with all investor transactions from assignments, double closes, novations, sub-twos, wraps, anything that's creative. Reach out to Natalie Basak. Her phone number is 936-442-8486. Natalie Basak with Black Label Title. All right, and we're back. So you learned a lot. You went door to door. Hurricane Harvey, got a bunch of contracts. At this point, you're probably sitting on a fat bank account, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely nice to be able to come here and start making money from when we hit the ground running.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So what did you do? What did you do after that? What was your vision, and what was your execution after you made some money wholesaling these deals?
Yeah, I mean, the first step was to try to put it all back into systems, try to make it a little bit easier. Because after Harvey, we did benefit a lot from that time, because the second I kind of realized what the goal was, going back to kind of that antiquated method of just printing out all the realtors. Yeah. I would set those goals where I would say I have to physically speak to 50 realtors every single day. Yeah. Right. So I would get in contact with them. And even those ones just before Harvey hit, those ones I made a connection with, they were calling out to us now and saying, hey, I have this property over in, Fleetwood. Right. We need an offer on it. So the more that I could put money back into creating better systems and to build up that network, it just over time became easier and easier. Mm-hmm. So really kind of when you start off with wholesaling, the reason those first 6 months are so tough is because you're just pushing yourself out there and your name out there trying to make connections. But once you solidify that and have enough connections, well, all of a sudden this switch flicks on and all these connections that you made, well, now they're reaching out to you. So I would get into the office and now I've got 4 or 5 text messages from agents who are saying, hey, I've got this off-market property. We need an offer on. And that's when things become easier, because now I'm just focused more on evaluating these leads rather than spending all day prospecting for potential leads. So once you hit that point, you know that your business is a little bit more solid.
Yeah. And then it kind of becomes kind of like it's ever living kind of being that just kind of generates its own kind of revenue from just doing the business on a daily basis, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what kind of systems did you start with from the very beginning? What was important to you at the time?
Yeah, so the first one I invested into was there's a owner finance guy named Mitch Stephen.
Oh yeah.
So Mitch,
OG.
Yeah, I loved his books. I read The Art of Owner Financing as one of my favorite books to ever get started.
Yeah.
He created a texting platform for his owner financing business. I can't remember what it's called now. I think it was Texcom or something along those lines. And invested into that, and then had all the buyers that we had met, during this period, and uploaded them into this texting platform. And then every time we'd have a property that would come across, instead of having to manually call all these investors to see if they wanted to buy it, now we just sent them a text message. We created a little link with a prospectus on the property. And then just those little tweaks to your business go a long way.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're trying to, get a better hold of time management. Once you get a better hold of time management, you create the lead generation beast, then everything kind of falls into place.
Man, that's awesome.
Yep.
So you got the texting platform. What about a CRM? Did you get a CRM right away, or?
Yeah, well, when I was with the brokerage, they had a CRM that provided it to us. But yeah, I'm a firm believer in the CRM. Like, we actually, we live and die by our CRM now.
Yeah.
Our lending business, everything operates in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first CRM was given to us, but I've used others. I've used Pipedrive. I've used Salesforce. I've used them all. Now we have, a specific loan operating CRM to our lending business.
Yeah. And I forgot to ask you, how did you, like right away, you said you were able to find hedge funds. And I think it took me several months into being in wholesaling when I first started to get connected to hedge funds. How did you get connected with them right away?
It's a good question. You're talking 10 years ago now. 2017.
Yeah. Just connections, huh?
Just connection. And I think, one or two. I think Job had one or two. We had met one from Vegas. I can't remember. I think we met him at an event or a bar or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of learning what hedge funds are looking for in their buy box, and they were good. I mean, they kind of come in and out. They exit as fast as they come in. But kind of knowing some of the larger ones is helpful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. So then you guys have a system, and so at this point, when you started scaling your wholesaling, did you do that on your own? Did you have any partners?
No. So back in I think it was 2018 or 2019, I set up a wholesale office, and that grew fast. We grew that up to about 20 acquisition agents.
But did you have any partners?
No.
Okay.
Just myself.
It was just you.
Yeah, we had an office manager, we had a transaction coordinator, and then we just slowly grew the team. I think when we very first started, we had 4 acquisition agents.
Yeah.
And then that's what kind of really, we started working on more of the marketing systems, and trying to get that cost per acquisition down. So
nice.
Yeah.
Where did you learn everything about wholesaling? And
just boots on the ground, obviously, from net worth, and then just doing it. So we had at that time, because of the whole Mitch Stephen thing, before I got into flipping, I actually got into owner finance. So I was buying cheap houses, 40, 50 grand houses. Probably had like 12 or 13 of them.
Yeah.
Only owner finance. We would find the buyers. We would just run a little Facebook ad. We'd run it in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of progressed that way.
You say you ran them in Spanish?
Yeah.
Yeah. Facebook ads.
Facebook ads. So we would get our owner finance property. We would buy it.
Yeah.
And then we needed the end buyer.
Yeah.
So we would just create a little $100 or $50 Facebook ad.
Yeah.
And then put out there, dueño. And we would have, I think on our first open house, kind of going back, the funny story is the office manager I had, a really awesome dude. Love the guy. His name is Alan. Found him in a car dealership.
Yeah.
He sold me my truck, and I needed a Spanish speaker.
Yeah.
So he came and worked for me. That was
kidding.
That was the first guy that came and joined when I set up the wholesale brokerage. So he's a Spanish speaker.
Yeah.
He helped me set up the ads, and his very first intro into real estate was showing up to this ad we had put, and we put almost like an open house, and we had like 100 people show up.
100 people.
It was crazy.
Actually, 100 people.
It was like 100 people.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't do a head count.
Yeah.
But
it was
there
a
was
lot.
one after another walking in the door of this property. It was up like Jacinto City kind of area.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty wild. So we knew that any house that we got, which we knew made sense, we could do that model.
Yeah.
We could sell it.
Wow. And it kind of seems like it'd be kind of an easy thing to kind of throw out there, right?
Yeah.
You just filter out a Facebook ad, select kind of like just the Spanish industry, and just let the algorithm run with it.
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It worked well.
That's a good idea. Man, so what happened after that? You guys are, scaling, you guys are growing the wholesaling company. What was the peak like? What made you kind of shift away from that and get into lending?
Yeah, I mean, the peak was great.
Yeah.
It had its own levels of stresses,
Yeah.
with dealing with that many people. So we ran that for about 5 years, and then just kind of culminated into getting into lending.
Yeah.
And then just for me personally, I preferred the lending side of it. So kind of phased out the wholesale. At the height of it, it was great. And then at the lowest, it was bad. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar anything. It's
Yeah.
finding the right people, finding the right acquisition agents, constantly training them was
Right.
always a big deal. So I think we could have got a lot better at the the training systems that we had. We would just manually train every single acquisition agent that came in.
Right.
We would spend a week with them, getting them up to speed, and then we would pass them all of our marketing leads, which we paid a lot of money for.
Right. So it's kind of like a ever self-sustaining kind of system at the peak of it.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how did you get introduced into lending?
Yeah, it was just kind of a natural thing. We were selling 15, 20 properties a month, on a good month. And we would just pass the leads out to local lenders. We never really found a way to monetize it, but we would kind of get to know the local lenders. We would know the ones who are really good.
Yeah.
The ones that would kind of nurture the deal, help the buyer, make sure it closes.
Yeah.
So we knew the importance from the side of lending. So we knew that, that lender, they understood the whole process and the model, and to be able to make sure our deal closes. So we got to know what was good in a lender, and we just translated that over into our lending company. We have been on every side of the coin, so to speak. We've been on the wholesaler side, so we know their stresses. We know that they want to get paid. They want to get their deal done.
Right.
We know the investor side. We've flipped houses. We know how to, look at the budget. We know how to look at the numbers. So all of that helped when we created the lending company. It wasn't purely, we were a bunch of finance guys that wanted to get into this side of real estate.
Yeah. But what prompted you to initially want to get into lending, to start a lending company? Was there maybe like a mentor that came by, or was it just like an idea that popped in your head?
I'll tell you what it was, is we had 2 deals which fell out from a lender.
Okay.
And I had, at this point in the wholesaling, we're probably 3-4 years in, and I had never thought about lending.
Yeah.
It wasn't my part in the chain. My part in the chain was to be a wholesaler.
Right.
And then when these deals fell out, I wanted to create a system that on these types of instances that we could step in and still get these deals funded. So those deals, we brokered out, but almost as like a white label, where it was still our name on the lending, but it wasn't our capital. We weren't out there raising the capital. So when we got those 2 deals done, I just, kind of thought, well, if we can perfect this system and have a really good lending business that we can see the whole thing, then it'll help us get these deals closed.
Yeah.
So that was my thought behind it.
So at the beginning, it's 2 deals fell out, and then you decided to broker the loan.
Correct.
Basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And who taught you how to do that?
Myself, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You asked AI, a little bit of ChatGPT.
This is way before ChatGPT, man. That's a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Ask Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I had no idea. I mean, I knew the broker because I've been through it so many times.
Right.
Right. But, there was still a lot to learn.
Right.
With the lending side of it.
Yeah. So you broker the loan, and you do the loan on the deal. Who did you decide to broker the loan to? How did that whole process go?
Yeah, these 2 loans were they were through a company called Rock Capital, who at the time were hitting us up already about doing a white label program. So our branding is all over it. We just feed the deal into them, and we work with the borrower to get everything completed. I think we also had done one with Kiavi So we had the knowledge of what they're looking for when they're underwriting the deal.
Yeah.
So now it was just a matter of implementing it in there, and then learning the whole capital raise side of things. Speaking to banks, going to, looking for lines of credit. So that came later.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Very cool. So, so you start your first 2 loans, and then after that, you decided to just go all in, or how did that? Was it like a natural progression, and kind of let the wholesaling company die out slowly, or was it just like, boom, close up shop, lending, here we go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a bit of a boom.
Yeah.
Bit of a let's carry on with the lending. It became a lot. It became a lot with the wholesaling. The market was down.
Yeah. When did you shut it down?
Right after COVID.
Right after COVID?
Yeah, right after COVID.
Okay, so 21 or so?
Yeah.
21, 22.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So it was just my kind of personal want to get away from spending all my time on wholesaling. I also knew that if I wanted to build up the lending, I couldn't be spending, an immense amount of time on the wholesaling and working with all the newer agents.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I kind of saw the writing on the wall too, like in terms of being able to build something that's scalable, that's truly scalable, and also exitable. Wholesaling is great to create a tremendous amount of cash. But what the thing about wholesaling is that there's not really a lot of companies out there or private equity firms that are willing to go and purchase a wholesaling operation. Right?
Yeah, sure. And if they are, they're investing into the person that's running that company.
Right.
Most companies are geared like that. You have to look at what makes a company, what are they looking at when they acquire a company? For in the recycling business, they were acquiring our assets because we had all the recycling bins out there. We had the trucks, we had the warehouse, we had the operational staff, the warehouse staff in there. So they were buying something physical.
Right.
When you're buying a wholesale company, you're really buying the people. Right. You might be buying the systems, but do they really have any proprietary technology?
Not really.
Generally not.
Right.
So that's kind of, most businesses that they're not looking to, just buy the name. They're looking to buy it and still operating the same the very next day.
Right.
And that's very difficult in a business where you can't, again, step outside of it, and it still run as normal.
Yeah, no, I agree. Such a tough business, man. So
yeah, it is. But you learn so much with wholesaling. I mean, we learned lending through wholesaling. We learned it because we were working with lenders every day.
Yeah.
And our lending partners were great.
Right.
We had lending partners who were exceptional. Still love those guys.
Yeah.
But the timing was right for us to or for me to change my focus, and to have a little bit more peace and clarity and be able to build something where, it's scalable, but it's also not completely reliant on the people, that if they step out and they go away, they start their own new thing. We're still rolling.
It's amazing. So, what happens after you shut down, you start with lending? Did you take any of the people that you had in the wholesaling operation to start the lending company, or
not initially? But some of them do work for us now.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So not initially.
They're now loan officers.
No kidding. Okay.
And they're doing great. They love it.
That's amazing. So you, so you, whenever you started the lending company, then what was that process like? After now you've, had a company, textile company, you scale that, you exit. You do the same thing with wholesaling, right? You start it, shut it down. You're starting from scratch again the third time, right?
Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah. I mean, my goal wasn't to build a 20-person beast for the lending. It was to just build a good name, a good brand,
right?
And here in Houston, and then have the right people bring in and help them or help us, through being loan officers.
Yeah.
So we're very small now. We got a team of 5 of us.
Nice.
So yeah, it's worked out great.
You don't need a whole lot of people.
No.
Yeah. Cool. So when you started then, what was that like? Who were the first hires? How long did it take you to kind of start gaining some traction and lending? There was no Hurricane Harvey that you could go and knock on doors, right? So what was that process
like? Actually, I'm
now?
probably happy I wasn't a lender during Hurricane Harvey, because
that would have been disastrous.
A lot of flooded houses that you had to work through.
For sure.
So the first hire we had really 2, which was Tom, who I know He was working with you on the GetYou.ai.
Right.
So he was the first, and also my wife. My wife came in, helped with a lot of the manual side of things.
Yeah.
So document collection. A lot of it was setting up our systems, trying to get a better flow.
Yeah.
So those two. It was Tom and then my wife.
No kidding.
Yep.
Okay. So then, you say you bring your wife in there. That's pretty awesome. What is it like working with your wife? Is she still in the business?
No, she's not now.
No?
I mean, she still helps out where she can, but she's about to have another baby.
Oh, nice. That's
We're churning them out.
Yeah. That's keeping her busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good. So then, Tom, your wife, how did you start getting business? How did you start scaling? How did you start, creating systems and processes? What was that whole process like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we were in an advantageous position that we had the wholesale brokerage, and we had a good name. We were kind of known to be, very ethical in the way that we wholesaled.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime we encountered these borrowers, we were always fair to them. We always tried to give them good deals.
Yeah.
So when we had deals, a lot of times, people would just buy them without even looking at them because they know if we put our numbers on them, they were solid deals. So by doing that for 5 years, we had a huge database of really good borrowers.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went back to square one and I started calling these borrowers and say, hey, we're lending now.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to take a look at your next project.
Yeah.
And so it was a great fit because the first borrowers that we had were borrowers that we knew. We knew that they did what they said they were going to do. They finished the projects, they got everything done, and that was the basis. And most of those borrowers are still with us now.
Wow.
That's Spark. So
very easy transition then, huh?
very easy transition.
Yeah, because you already have the Rolodex of people that you've been doing business with already.
Correct. It wasn't a cold call. It was, calling someone that we've known, we've dealt with.
Right.
We've made them money by selling them good deals.
Yeah.
And now just saying, hey, I'd love to be able to, give you a term sheet on your next project.
Yeah.
So that's how we got our initial loans in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super easy transition. I want to ask you about the next step in your career, which is, scaling this lending company, and then eventually how you got to start GetHardMoney.com.
Yep.
But first, let's have a quick commercial break.
Awesome.
If you're a nationwide real estate investor, you need to go check out GetHardMoney.com. GetHardMoney.com is the number one place to find local hard money lenders. You can connect with them directly. You can request term sheets. You can chat all in one single place. The coolest thing that I think about GetHardMoney.com is that you have free tools built in, AI comping, you have a flip profit calculator, cash to close calculator. What's really cool about it also is that it's 100% free. You don't have to go and buy anything. You can sign up. You can use all the tools that they have. They have tools added there all the time. No cost ever. So if you're investing and you need lender connections, this site works nationwide. If you need deal analysis, this thing is a no-brainer. There's no cost to sign up. It's just free value, free connections to any real estate lender out there. So go sign up, GetHardMoney.com. All right, and we are back. So we were talking about Spark Lending and how you started that off. So you already had a relationship with your buyers who ended up now becoming your borrowers. And so very easy transition.
Yep.
What was next? What was the next step in that process to now getting from the beginning of it, maybe four years ago or so?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Three years ago to, now to present moment. What has changed from then until now?
Sure. So, but kind of leaning back on the relationships, I love real estate for the reason that it's so relationship driven.
Right.
Like if you're building up the right team, anything can happen, right? Anything can help you scale. Just like I met you, right? With your marketing, you're part of our team now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The same thing with anything from your agents to your buyers to your realtors. It's so relationship driven. So, whenever I meet someone who's new in the industry, I tell them that's their main focus to start with. Build up the relationships, build up your team around you, and then they'll help you with everything, even when it comes down to mentoring. Right. If I wasn't riding around with Job at the very beginning, we wouldn't have got all those contracts because I was not a pro at evaluating a deal and being able to offer 60 to 70% on the deal.
Right.
So yeah, it's all relationship driven. So that kind of catapulted Spark into it. And then we got lucky with Jackson. So Jackson came to us. I had known him before a little bit, and he was a YouTuber who did YouTube videos on new construction.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, man, I want to start a channel on flipping houses. So it's called the Ground Up House Flipping Challenge, Ground Up House Flipping Business."
Okay.
And he documented his journey for his very first flip from the very beginning all the way up until when it closed and all the way up until when he sold the property. Now, when he documented that on social media and YouTube, it also helped our business a lot too, because we had a lot of exposure. So it's a great channel if anyone wants to check it out. It's a Ground Up House Flipping
Yeah,
channel.
absolutely. We're gonna have to include a link to his channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot. And we learned a lot. I was never big on social media. We had marketed it on there, and we had paid for clicks and kind of what everybody does. But I never, until I met him, understood the importance of getting yourself out there.
Right.
And once you get yourself out there, it's it's like going to a networking event. You go to a networking event and shake 5 hands and give some business cards out. But when you produce content where you're getting thousands and thousands of views,
Right.
It's the same thing. You're out there networking. They feel like they know you. So
Yeah.
we get calls all day for people who are like, "Hey, I saw you on YouTube. I watch your channel."
Hard Money Joe.
Exactly. Hard Money Joe. Like, what are your terms? What can you do?
Yeah.
It's been awesome. So we've leaned heavily into that instead of just going down the throwing a bunch of money towards traditional marketing medians.
Right.
We now lean more heavily into creating content which is helpful for very. The channel is not monetized in any way.
Right.
It hasn't been until we created the Get Our Money.
Right.
But everything we do is just value driven.
Right.
So if we're providing value to teaching people about house flipping, about DSCR loans, about rehabs, it helps us just by providing that value. It all comes back to us.
How did you get to know Jackson? How were you connected to him?
He was It's a good question. He was recommended from a friend of mine who had met him, and then we met with Jackson and his business partner. And this was prior to him getting into flipping, but he was talking about wanting to get into flipping, and I had no idea that he did social media or anything like that. So,
Gotcha.
We met again through a mutual acquaintance. Again, relationship driven.
All relationships.
He introduced me to Jackson.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he came to you and said, "Hey, I want to do a flip, blah blah blah."
Yep.
He documented everything, and so started with you kind of from the beginning.
Correct. So he had no knowledge. He didn't know what offer price to give. He didn't know how to evaluate a deal.
Yeah.
He lives in Kingwood. He wanted a deal kind of around him. So I just started taking a look at all the wholesale deals, started, trying to find him a deal to be able to do a loan for him on. And he documented the whole thing from the calls to the wholesalers to, first showing up and having New Western there with 20 people on the showing.
Yeah.
And he didn't fluff anything up. It was all exactly, what do they want for earnest money? What is the cash to close?
Yeah.
The pain points with the contractors he had during the flip. And
Right.
it was all documented. I think people really vibed with it because it wasn't like HGTV where this is the purchase, this is the rehab, this is the sales price, this is the profit. It was a true realistic insight into
Nice.
what it takes to flip, because
Yeah.
there's so many more moving parts to flipping a house
Right.
than just simply those 4 numbers.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you were the person basically that financed the deal.
Yeah, so we financed it. We actually found him that first deal. He had his own contractor who had done some work on his own house. So he brought the contractor, and it was in Kingwood. And I forget who the wholesaler was. I think it was Alchemist, or Joe Huber. But anyway, we got the deal from them, and it worked out to be a really good deal. And he made a profit on it.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Nice.
So, and then he had a couple where he didn't make a profit on.
It happens.
So that's what happens in flipping,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it was great. I loved it. Loved the fact that it was geared towards helping people.
Right.
One thing led to another, and then because social media is not geographically specific, it's everywhere. We were getting tons of new investors reaching out from all over the country, asking the same things. How do I evaluate this deal? How do I, plug it into a calculator? Where can I find my lender? And that kind of led to organically growing the Get Hard Money, where now we're putting local lenders in every market where they can find them. There's calculators on there where they can estimate what they're going to profit on their flip, their cash to close, their rehab calculators, DSCR calculator. So it's all, again, completely free to use. We even have an AI comping tool on there.
No kidding.
So you can comp your houses. So it's really just kind of a a helpful tool for new investors
Yeah.
or seasoned investors too, if you want to mingle with your local lenders.
Yeah, for sure. And so that was kind of like a natural progression that happened though, right? Because for a while you guys are already doing deals. You're bringing in all of the traffic that's coming in from Jackson's channel.
Yep.
And then now you see an opportunity to now convert this into a nationwide thing. So how can we bring more value to people that are outside of our market is probably kind of the nature of thinking there, huh?
Exactly.
Okay.
So we, because we've only ever lent in our market,
Yeah.
there was nothing we could do for all these investors, but, pass them on to another lender, just email introduction. And that was it, or try to broker the deals out. But that never, was never the greatest thing. So
For sure.
so now we feel like we're building a real community, and we're continually adding stuff to the platform that's just completely value driven to them. So they can, use it every day. So when they're making offers, they can calculate their offers. It's a pretty cool tool.
That's amazing, man. You guys are offering a lot of value for, any investor out there that's looking to get their first deal done.
Yeah, exactly.
Or their next deal, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So where's most of the traffic coming from right now? From YouTube?
Yeah. It's all coming from YouTube.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is incredible.
Yep.
Yeah. YouTube is such a high converting, great source of a medium, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to generate really good prospects for you guys.
And it's all long content. The videos are, hour long in some cases. So it really kind of build a rapport there with these guys. They feel like they know us.
Right.
And so they feel like they can trust us when we give them these tools for them to use.
Nice. Everything kind of just flows easily then.
Yep.
Yeah. And so what kind of systems have you had to put in place now to be able to, you guys are probably getting a lot of traffic through YouTube.
Yep.
What kind of systems do you have in place now to be able to kind of handle all the traffic? What kind of people do you have in place now? When did you start GetHardMoney.com?
About a year ago.
About a year ago?
Yeah, maybe slightly over.
Yeah.
A year.
Okay.
Yep. The systems we use have not really changed in terms of our CRM and our loan operating system that we use for our own loans.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of being able to quickly act on these incoming prospects, where to filter them to, because previously they were all coming through the Spark Lending website.
Right.
And now if they're, not in a market that we can handle, it's just redirecting them to the Get Hard Money to be able to find a local lender.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so when you say a local lender, do you guys have now sort of like a Rolodex of lenders across the nation?
Yep.
Okay.
We have about 82 lenders that we work with. These are all smaller lenders. These are not, the big national guys. We've kind of always preached that having that lender is just another part of your team. If I have a borrower call me up and say, "Hey, Joe, I really got to get this deal closed in 4 or 5 days," I know that I can help this lender get this deal done.
Yeah.
But if they went to a Kiavi, although their rates are good, it's a whole different beast, right? So I'll even walk these properties with our investors. I'll comp them, I'll run them, I'll figure out, if it's a deal, I'll tell them straight up, like, "Hey, man, I wouldn't be buying this deal because I don't like the numbers." So I think it's very useful to have a local lender on your team.
What did it take to be able to get 82 lenders already on your platform?
Reaching out to them, and also we're part of a mastermind.
Oh yeah.
That has lenders in there. We were just in Dallas a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember you told me.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. The lenders like it because they get leads from investors in their market.
Yeah. So it's a pretty easy pitch then, I imagine, bringing on more lenders to the marketplace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can chat with the borrowers on there. They can send their term sheets through the platform. They can, communicate with them on there, almost like Facebook Messenger. So it's helpful for the lenders too. So it's just another form of lead generation.
Is there a cost for lenders to join?
There's not a cost to join and not a monthly cost, but there's a cost per closed loan.
Okay.
So if a loan gets all the way into, its culmination of originating that loan and having an active loan, then we'll charge the lender.
Yeah. But only if a deal gets closed.
Only if a deal closed.
And how do you guys track that?
A lot of it is just through honesty.
Yeah.
We haven't got to the point where we feel like we need to go in there and create algorithms to see if these loans have closed and match borrowers. We would have the potential to do that, but even on our lender side, we've built a really strong community.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that it's a very useful tool to have. The best thing you can have as a lender is having leads coming in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, a lot of it's based off trust right now.
That's amazing. I think with business, you always have to have really good, honest partners, right?
Yep.
And so, I mean, I think maybe just vetting the people out, making sure you're doing business with good people, I think is probably enough at the beginning right now.
For sure. And it's helped our business too with Spark because, we're giving these lenders leads, and the first time they get a lead that's from a bar in Houston come through their website, what do? They reach out and say, hey, I have this bar, can you take care of them?
Right.
So it's just a community now, and we share leads amongst each other.
Leads amongst other lenders, you mean? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And so the way that the system works is someone comes to your website, they maybe play around with the calculators to figure things out. Whenever it's time for them to get a quote, then they go and request a quote. Now they have their your
phone died.
My phone, pick up the phone died. We'll keep that off there. So now you have basically, and we're back. So the whole process is that they come into your website, you're offering them a lot of value. When it's time for them to actually, when they find a property that's worthy of them getting a quote, then they can do it on that same website.
Yep, correct.
So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for analyzing the deal, getting a quote from the lender, contacting them through the platform. The whole system could probably be spent or done on your platform then.
Yeah, that's the goal, is that almost everything that you can do, eventually you can do that on the platform.
Yeah.
So, you can find your lender, you can find your insurance agent here in a few weeks. So when you have your property and you have all the terms, you can push it out to a bunch of local insurance brokers, and they'll be able to give you a quote.
Yeah.
So it's all just, finding the best product for you at the time. So if you have a potential loan, you can actually put it out to all the local lenders in your market, and then let them send you the term sheet so that you can compare them. And it's just a great way to be able to connect with other people in your market.
So you're gonna create also kind of like a brokerage for insurance carriers or brokers.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's free for them to join.
Yeah.
And that's, everything is free with the insurance, but a lot of times us investors forget the insurance until the day of closing or the day before closing. Everyone's scrambling around trying to lock in the insurance to let it close.
Right.
Well, you can have your deal on there, and you just push it out to all the insurance agents and let them give you, vacancy quote, builder's risk quotes, whatever you need.
Very, very efficient then.
Yep.
Yeah. Get the job done all in one location.
Yeah. Why do you have to jump around to 30 different, and that's same vision you have too, right? You're trying to accomplish not having all these different softwares that people are paying for, and it's all a centralized system,
right?
That has all the same benefit for a tenth of the cost.
Yeah.
Like we're looking at all the expenses in real estate with your MLS license, your the cost that you're spending on insurance, all of these things. We're trying to limit the cost for the investor to ultimately help their bottom line, ultimately help the speed of the transaction.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if you can make things faster and cheaper for people, it's going to be a no-brainer for them to use your product or service.
And no cost.
And no cost. Yeah.
Completely free to use.
Yeah.
So
my platform is just about as free as you can get. I mean, it's cheaper than a live human being, and it's cheaper than a human being. It doesn't get tired. It always shows up to work on time. Right. And it always follows the script. So I think it's probably the best alternative to having a human being, is having someone that's potentially better and then also a lot cheaper. So
yeah, it's very interesting to see, kind of everything that's happening with staffing and AI.
Yeah.
With AI replacing staffing. And it'll be interesting to see, how that comes about in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. I think the people that are really gonna kind of set the foundation for kind of the next iteration of business is going to be the people that learn how to implement AI into businesses.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's the biggest challenge right now, is because a lot of people are hearing about AI, but what is AI? How do you actually implement it? How do you actually use it? Like, I think that's the people that are able to bridge that gap are the people that are really going to have the next wave of tech millionaires and potentially billionaires. If you're able to figure out a way to scale one particular problem in an industry, then I think that's where a lot of opportunity lies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you're batter on deck. You ready?
Man, I am excited. I am excited right now in the voice AI space. There's a lot of people that are using platforms like N8N, right? Platforms like make.com, which is kind of like a voice wrapper. You're connecting a bunch of different tools, and you have to like set it up manually, do all of these things. That's why a lot of people are charging $1,000 setup fee, $3,000 setup fee, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 setup fees is the most that I've heard.
Yeah.
And I knew that was a big challenge because if we can make this programmatically and solve the solution of having an onboarding within 5 minutes, which my platform can do, now we can onboard people and I don't have to charge an arm and a leg for you to have your own voice AI with whatever industry you're in, naming it whatever you want, and it's saying whatever company you wanted to say that you're working with, letting the client program very basic fundamentals of the AI. Now we can just onboard people a lot quicker, and not have to charge them anything, so the barrier of entry for anyone to have a voice AI goes down to 0. So now, what's really stopping you from having a voice AI employee that can fill in the gaps, that can take inbound leads, make outbound calls if you have compliance? It's a great, magnificent tool, and I think I'm really excited to be able to bring it to the marketplace.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we're starting to use it too.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to seeing what it can do. And that's in our industry. I know it's you can really implement this in almost any industry, right?
Yeah,
because you've got the sales side of it, you've got the assistant side of it.
Yeah,
you've got so many different angles that you can implement it into.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really excited about that. It's going to be the future for sure, man. So, we've even talked about doing some AI tools with like finding out different things from the county, right? Finding different solutions there. So many ways to implement AI. I think if you just learn how to, especially how to code nowadays, I think that is the number one way to get ahead, in my opinion.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you. But man, so I love everything. I love what you're doing with GetHardMoney.com. Do you where do you see it going next? In the future, in the next 5 years, 10 years, AI. We're talking about AI right now. Are you looking to implement any more sort of AI tools or things into the platform?
Yeah, always anything to make our life simpler.
Yeah.
A lot of it's manual work where we, take stuff the bars have given us and have to transpose it into our systems.
Yeah.
So that'll be, great when we can kind of figure out with, how AI can help us there.
Yeah.
Already on the, kind of the lead system, the generation system, a lot with the refinances. There's so many different angles we would eventually, to keep up with everybody else, need to implement it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, man. And I'm sure you guys are going to continue growing the YouTube and bringing in more clients there.
Yeah, definitely put a lot into the YouTube this year and next, and just keep growing it.
Yeah.
I love it now. I think it's such a great tool.
Yeah.
So much training on there for free.
For sure.
And we get the benefit from it.
Love it, dude. What do you what kind of direction do you guys want to take the YouTube channel? Because I know you work a lot with Jackson now, right?
Yeah, well, now it's kind of the point where he's more of a seasoned vet, because he's on the 7th, so it's not from the very newbie. So now, if you've seen, we've started to interview a lot of other investors, because there's so many different aspects of real estate,
right?
And so many different people have different niches.
Right.
So we just interviewed, a guy who's flipping a 72 unit hotel.
Yeah.
And next week we're actually going to film someone who's doing a brand new construction duplex.
Right.
Right. We're working on one now where they're building little shotgun houses on over 30 lots.
Right.
So we're going to interview those guys, kind of find out, where they started from, where they're trying to go, how they're doing it, just to kind of help everybody who might take a different path than the just traditional single family flip.
Right.
So that's kind of what we want to do, is just meet all the different types of investors from different backgrounds, from different experience levels, and put them out there that hopefully people can learn on. Just boots on the ground. It's right. It's cool to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of like the next phase
Yep.
you would say is interviewing investors here in town.
Interviewing investors and seeing what they're doing.
Yeah, man, that's
Yeah.
takes a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fun though. It's really enjoyable. I mean, we just get out there with cameras and we just talk like we're talking now.
yeah,
We walk through their project. We kind of see, all the ins and outs of it, the different stages of it.
right.
It's not a ton of work. I don't have to do any of the editing, which
Yeah,
is great.
yeah.
I just show up and talk to these guys and we film it. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
And it helps us. Now we have really good systems. When someone wants to get a loan, they come into our ecosystem and it's all, streamlined. So it takes a lot of pressure off me to not have to manually do them. So yeah, we're in a good position now, and it's really just kind of growing how much capital we have out.
yeah,
And just improving our servicing, making sure that every borrower that comes through us has the same incredible experience.
yeah.
Very customer driven. So that's what we're trying to build.
That's incredible, man. You guys are doing something great. I'm excited to see where you guys end up, in the next 3 to 5 years,
Yeah.
Especially, you mentioned incorporating a lot of AI systems into your platform. I think that really is the key to having growth, and being different out in the marketplace. Because there's a lot of tools. There's a lot of, like you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, a lot of dinosaurs out there.
Yep.
Right. And so how do you come in and make an impact in today's day and age? I think that is the biggest win I think that you can do if you learn how to do that early on right now.
Yeah. Making it easier for us, making it easier for them.
Yeah.
And then making sure everybody makes more money.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. Absolutely. Well, cool, man. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. How can people find out more about you, Spark Lending? Is there one area that they can go and connect with you?
Yeah, if they want to reach out to me, it's just joe@sparklending.com. Our website's sparklending.com. You can actually book a call on there with me.
Yeah.
If you want to, talk about real estate.
For sure. Cool.
So, and then getharmoney.com too. It's free to use.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Joe. I appreciate it. And we'll be here on the next one.
Sounds good.
Thank you,
Thanks,
bro.
man.